Hello everyone, welcome to these energies at the moment that everyone will be experiencing these rather differently, and so don't make any judgment about how you are receiving them. The exciting thing is the fact that we are really in these finishing stages and in these higher spirals. So always I am shown that we can perceive everything according to the spirals in this painting. So we move up the spirals, we move up them at separate and individual paces. So we're all spiraling up at our own pace. And as we spiral up, you could also see that we are increasing in what we can hold, and we're in huge purification. So for me, the last couple of mornings, when I was thinking how I use this term slam dunk, because that's how I feel the energies affect me. So the last, I think, 2 mornings, but maybe it was this morning and a couple of mornings ago, I am woken for some reason early, 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and I'm feeling ready to get up and meditate or write. And as I'm in this process, because that's early for me to get up, as I'm in the process of doing that, it's like I get taken out. And so, because I've been an indoor basketballer for a lot of my life, the slam dunk is when someone pushes the basketball through the hoop. It's not a shot, it's a push. And that's how I feel. I feel like some giant 7-foot guy has just sort of thrown me onto the bed, and I'm just out to the count. I am awake and then I am asleep. And I'm aware that that's how my body, for whatever reason, that's how my body receives these energies that are maybe beyond my capacity to receive if I was awake. Maybe I'd be in some resistance with them, but I don't generally perceive any pain. But that's the impact that they have on me. They take me out. They put me into this deep sleep. And as they have become more intense, I can tell you, I don't wake up feeling all fit and fresh. I wake up feeling dense and weighty and a bit groggy. So maybe that might be an interesting thing for people to pop in the chat and say what your physical response is to receiving these energies, which are, getting faster and higher each day. So I've got a few notes. There's lots I could say about it, but it's exciting. I think sometimes that I use that word quite often in this time, but I am excited about it. To me, it's very real. It's very tangible. And yesterday, when Sarah Adams said to me, well, that she'd been receiving this information since 2012 and doesn't see it in the physical. Well, I definitely, and that's what I said to her, no, it's showing up in the physical. And so these are all signals really that we're moving closer to this time. We're having this huge clean out, this deep purification. That's in our own physical structure as well as on the planet, and all the systems and structures in our world that do not serve us. They are being turned upside down, shaken out, destabilized, replaced, and we are watching that in the systems, particularly that pertain to government and to money, economics, currencies, those two areas in particular. And the what's going hand in hand with that is the truth. So we're in these times where we will be realizing and feeling, sensing and speaking our own truth as we come into our greater alignment, and that is what is happening in our world as well. So yeah, there are things that are happening that the kind of truther movement have been speaking of over the past few years. This perhaps this movement into countries being run by the military as an in the meantime provision. And so we've been watching that in a few different countries. Apparently it's happening in Brazil. There's movement talk about that happening in a number of states, or in a number of states in the US, that I think they call it the Home Guard, that they've been put on alert in quite a significant, maybe 40 different states. That there are other countries as well where there are just changes and shifts in terms of government and ruling systems. So that to me is a good thing, because we need to be, as a world, as a society, as a civilization, operating from higher tenets and higher principles than that which our current systems are based upon, irrespective of whether or not they are fraudulent and criminal in their activities. So whether that is happening or not, they aren't operating on higher principles. So they're still operating on us versus them, not collaboration, cooperation, co-creation. They are still based on rules where they are perhaps for the good of those who hold the policy making components, or who hold the money. They're not for the good of the people in general. So that is a reason why they will be being replaced just on its own, and all systems are going to be like that. But let me just speak to the energies in general, and then I'll tell you specifically what Gaia has said. So this, thank you Sally for reminding me, this level of exhaustion, it's really strong. And my sense of it is that we are being pushed to collapse. We're being pushed to surrender. We're being pushed to be in receipt. And Gaia has used those words, to soften into receipt, to allow. And so this energy is, well, firstly, it's huge transformation we're going through in our internal systems. Our internal body is going through incredible upgrading, up-leveling, and it uses a lot of energy. So that makes us weary. And I believe that it's like forcing the planks, the bridge, to collapse, so that we're it's a little bit wobbly at the moment. The energies are moving up and down, and sometimes they feel a bit swirly, sometimes they feel very compressed, sometimes they feel like they're doing this. And I believe it's all for greater purpose. It's all for us to learn to be exceptionally present with each moment, and not to get too caught up with what is to come, to just roll with the next thing, roll with the next energy, roll with what is unfolding here. So I have to say that today and yesterday for me, I've had more energy than perhaps I've had in the last week or so. But these are Today's the 7th. So these are my notes from the last 3 days. So I said to Gaia, tell me more about this time and about the 11:11. So she gave me these words: peace, harmony, love, compassion, prosperity, abundance, co-creation, paradise, Christ consciousness, the Christos light. Oh, and I have to tell you that on that day, she sat with me, and she sat me as though I was sitting here in her lap, and with my back up against her front, and she wrapped her arms around me and she started rocking me. And so I'll tell you about that, because while she was doing that, she was telling me why she was showing me that rocking motion, so I can show you. And it was really comforting. So it was like the embrace of the mother. That was exactly how it felt. It was very soothing and comforting. So she said to me that she was demonstrating to me the motion that will assist our embodiment at this time, and I will put it in the chat. I've written it out. I will put it in the chat so that you can come back and look at it when the live is finished. Not in the chat. Oh no, I could put it in the chat, and then I will put it in the description, or whatever it's called. Just okay, so there it is there. So she says, I'll just tell you this now, see, and you could try it, see how it feels to you. So she says, sit and be still. Close your eyes. Place your hands on your heart. Smile. So if you don't know, every time you smile, even if it's a fake smile, it releases endorphins, and they're the feel good release in your chemicals in your brain. And rock gently. So you're going to rock yourself from side to side, sort of through the pelvis area, and back and forth gently in a figure of 8. All right. So if you've got a sore back, you might want to do that very gently, or imagine that you're doing it energetically. And you're going to repeat this after me. I am receiving and open to receiving these higher dimensional light codes and frequencies. I am instructing my body to soften and to relax for these 7th dimensional codes to be embedded and embodied into my physical body, and activating the appropriate level of DNA. Also, I am in preparation for receiving 12th dimensional codes into my energetic field, and then into my physical vessel, and for DNA activation, or whatever is my appropriate level of activation. And let that be guided by my higher self. So I want to tell you Just do a couple more breaths there and just feel into how that makes you feel. But we are, those of us who are awake and conscious and coming into these higher levels, we are receiving and have been receiving seventh dimensional codes. So I believe that but you know what I'm like with time, but I first felt those maybe on the 5th when this information came through, or maybe the morning I think on that morning. So these seventh dimensional codes and frequencies coming into the field. And so we are in the process of receiving those into our physical form through this. We come out into the second part of this eclipse. So we have the lunar eclipse tomorrow. And, that's about this bringing into higher activation the feminine aspects of each of us, whether we are in physical feminine form or physical masculine form. So the solar sun eclipse, that was activating our masculine aspects, and the lunar, the feminine. And so this is also undoing the programs, the limited beliefs, the things that hold us in lower frequency and lower dimension. So it's been a very discombobulating time because we're doing a lot of this. Maybe that. I used to think that. Now I believe that. What doesn't fit there? We might not even be examining it in that cognitive way. We might just be examining it in that sensory way, having this experience of feeling into things that don't feel the same as they used to. And this is totally new for us. And so it makes perfect sense that we would feel a little bit unsure, uneasy, wobbly, discombobulated. And so I want to say that there are a few, I was going to say tricks, but they're not really tricks. There are a few tips on how to move through it. And one is to be just really present with what is, and don't get into all of the mind trap about it. Don't get into understanding it. Just be with it. Feel it in your body. Have an experience of it as it's moving through or moving out or moving in or affecting you in terms of temperature or tingling or the skin or the frequency. And you might be feeling it in your muscles and your organs and your blood and your bones, on your skin, in your eyes and your ears and your jaw, and any of your chakra energy vortexes, front and rear. And just be the observer of it. And you can ask if there's anything it has to tell you. But that's the first thing, is to be very present with what is. And the second is to be very still or restful or at rest or in nature, getting your feet in the water, in the ocean, in a river, up against a tree, lying on the grass, getting your belly button, your bare belly button on the ground is a good way of anchoring and grounding into the earth. But we are really in this experience of releasing and deep purification. So that is releasing everything that doesn't serve us now, so that we can hold these higher codes. So these are the seventh dimensional codes that we are calling in now. And this is all in preparation for what's going to come through around the 11/11. So it may come in a couple of days beforehand, and it may last a few days after. I'm not exactly sure of that. It's bigger than just the 11/11, and I actually haven't asked specifically about that, because to me it's always showing up that we would move through these two eclipses as though we're moving through a long skinny birth canal, or through this squeeze of energies, or a tube. And that when we come out, we'll be into the 1111 energies, but we'll still be feeling the effects of the first eclipse and the second eclipse. And so these bundle in together, so that we get all of the effects coming in. And so when we come into the 1111, there's going to be this activation of both aspects. The feminine and the masculine aspects of South are going to be in this activation. So she showed me this, and feeling into the energy of this. So on the 11th of the 11th, I might just sort of be moving back and forth a bit here, but there is going to be a wave or several waves that come through, and they are going to be these waves that do that activation and that illuminate. So they're going to illuminate the planet, all of the beings on the planet, including us. So we're going to have this effect of being lit up, and as though it's this wash of light, including frequencies and codes that come through us and transform us. There's so many trans words, but transform us, why can't I think of any of them? I can't think of the perfect one. We're being transmuted, we're being transformed, and we're being transmigrated, and we are behaving as transductors. And there's probably another couple. I think I've come across 7 or 8 different trans words that are not to do with transsexuality, but which is another problem in terms of its intrusion. But I won't get off on top. I might do something about that another time, but I won't get off topic on that. But we are being changed. We're being changed deeply and profoundly on the inside, and it will show up on the outside. And this is also occurring in our planet. So this 1111 portal is going to have this illumination effect on all of the planet, including plants, animals, and elementals. It is a wave or waves of light and codes that will shift the consciousness on the planet to 5D. So I'm showing also that this expels or incinerates all particles and elements, thoughts that are in 4th dimensional negative polarity. So that is going to be not a part of our world anymore. Also, I was shown that it has this effect like a pull start on a lawnmower, a firing up, and this is us. We're being fired up, all of us. We're going to have this, what was described to me as instant knowledge and recognition of soul purpose and divine mission. And that this also links to partnership and conscious relationships, including divine union partnerships and or divine counterparts. So it's going to be a pretty big time. So we're going to be really looking at who we are and what we are and how we are becoming. For many beings on the earth are going to see more clearly who they are or who they are becoming. And your original illuminated divine blueprint in human form, your original divine blueprint in human form, I had to say that twice because it's pretty incredible to me, is coming into greater completion. So as we're spiraling up, it will come into final completion, but it's coming into greater completion. And this 1111 activation for many will take you to original divine plan blueprint and inner union and alignment and divine union activation, along with, sorry, I have already said this, the revealing of divine purpose and mission, and many seeing who they are and where they are from. So there will be an awakening, I'm told, for all those whose soul contracts are aligned with being on fifth dimensional Earth. It's a significant shift in vibration and light, and for some, on the 1111, some will also hear a sound, but not everyone, is my impression. But everyone will feel the vibration and notice the light. I'm also showing some planetary movement, a collective awakening, a fifth dimensional ascension for many, and Earth through all levels. Expansion occurs through all levels on the Earth, and illumination begins. So many will have chosen to exit at this point, so that they will have chosen that as part of their soul contract before they entered the Earth in this incarnation. Much of the Earth's density will, through this time and through that gateway, be released or have been released already. And in the meantime, anything not of the Christed light, the Christos light, the Christ consciousness vibration is being removed and dissolved from our world. So it's not necessarily going to be that all of that happens on that date, but it's going to be significant. And we are really in the end times of this. So I don't know about you, but I feel pretty jolly good about that. You know, this is all of, I guess, for me anyway, it's what I have been shown. We're in the midst of it. So I think it's very exciting. And if I were you, I would use the invocation and do a little bit of that rocking, maybe at least every day. But just if you start to get uncomfortable, use that as a way to integrate and embody. So we're doing that, and then what is also happening, remember, is that on that day we'll start to have these 12th dimensional energies coming into our field. So this is what I've been speaking about for I don't know how long, but for a while, about how we are embodying our multidimensional aspects out. So me as this being, Sharon, is here, and I have been beings in other dimensional existences at other frequencies and other lifetimes on this planet, and I am not of the belief, but I haven't checked, but I'm not of the belief that this will be all of our all aspects necessarily, but all aspects that pertain to our being here on the earth. So back through time and space, and we are integrating those. So this is our memories, our DNA, the tools and skills and experiences that make us into this completion of our higher dimensional self up to 12th dimensional space, or up to 12th dimensional frequency. And so we are, doing this a bit at a time, this integration, this release, this purification, but it's going to be this 1111 gateway is giving us access to these 12th dimensional codes and frequencies. So I think it's amazing. I'll just check in the chat and see if there's any questions. Hi, Dawn. Yes, that's great. Kia ora, Sally. Hello, Phoenix. Hi, Tina. Oh, yes, Sally saying brain fog, blurred vision, and head pressure. So one of the things about the brain fog, I believe, is because we are having brain upgrades. And the other reason is that maybe you're having this experience. I mean, I've been having this experience for a while, but it's really extreme for me now, is I have got no idea what day it is. So I have to keep checking. It felt like Friday to me today, and it's actually Monday. So when I tuned into that, this is because we are in different dimensional spaces at the moment. We haven't aligned up to the higher dimensional space. We are moving in and out, and so that has an effect on our ability to know where we are and what the day is, what the time is. And so this is all, support really for why we have to just keep being in present moment, and don't give yourself a hard time about knowing it or not knowing it. And it's for some people that may be causing quite a degree of intense pressure in the skull as well. Hi, Charlotte. Oh, interesting, Sally. Start to feel semi-human in the evenings. Is that an improvement or a more dysfunction? Hi, Charlotte. Belinda, been exhausted the last week, yes. Yeah, and I don't know about you, but this morning I went for a walk with a friend, and I said to her, so she has, she's a personal trainer, and she's my personal trainer. And I said to her, how are you going with your clients this week? And she said, I'm really quiet this week. And I said, yeah, I'm the same. And I think it's because these massive energies are coming in. So everybody's been given space. Dawn saying naps, but feeling so excited and giddy inside. Yeah. Donna Jean just found this at 11:11. Between the channels, exit. Okay, so I have spoken about this before, but a lot of souls in their physical form will exit through this time. So some of them will exit through traditional, what we would call death, traditional dying, and others will exit and return. So Gaia has given me about 12 different ways that could happen, and I probably won't even remember them all, but it doesn't really matter. So some people might be lifted off to a spaceship so that they can be housed and held, because it might be too much for their physical body, and then returned after they've been given some assistance for upgrading in frequency. Some people are going to come back with a new body. Some people are going to come back with an upgraded body. Some people are going to leave because they've completed mission and they are going to go and do something else. So maybe they go to another planet, or maybe they go to another form. But there have been a lot of souls that have been holding space for the earth. So they have been holding the density until we're ready, And so that might be why they're going, because they're holding a density that when they release, we can move through this energy more easily. They might be leaving because they've been holding light in a particular place, and that function is done. They may have been holding peace or space somewhere, for ease or to be receiving information. There's a whole lot of reasons why beings have come here for this time, because this is the very first time that physical beings have ever ascended and taken their physical vessel with them. Any other time that any planet in the history of the omniverse, is what I'm told, have ascended, they have always ascended by leaving the soul, the energetic body, leaving the physical body and coming back in a new physical body. So some will leave because their contract is up, some will leave because they chose to exit at this time permanently to go on to other things. Some will leave because they're not in readiness for this. But I do believe that souls already made this choice before they came here as to what they would do, and that divine energy and other off-planet beings that are assisting humanity will have been assisting individuals, the guides and the linkages to home planets or linkages to other realms. That will have all been occurring on the subtle realms to assist people with what it is that they need. Let's see. Oh, okay, Sally. Oh, I'm glad that you've got a bit of improvement. Is a shift to a parallel universe possible? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely is. So there are also souls here who have chosen to continue with having a three-dimensional experience because that's what their soul wants to have more time in that way. So I am showing that that's a planet that has some similarities to Earth, although I don't personally, I don't believe that we have two Earths. But Gaia has shown me that there is another planet that is similar to Earth that people who want to continue in this three-dimensional existence can go to complete that. Do you think that might explain my panic at dying when I receive shifts in consciousness? It's a memory of past ascensions and physical death. Well, my body is going zzz, so the answer to that is yes. And at the moment, we're receiving a lot of information from our cells about ourself, and it can come with a range of memories, a range of experiences, and we don't necessarily have to, I believe, we don't necessarily have to unpack them all, but we might have to have a little look at them. Happiness and giddiness this evening, Donna Jean is saying. Wonderful. It's fantastic. So yeah, it is this really, really beautiful time, and we are on the edges of this movement back to this paradise on earth, this Eden, this higher consciousness way of being here on Gaia. And we're going to be going through it because all of a sudden we are accessing a whole lot of things that we've maybe had access to, well, some of it anyway, and some of us, but maybe not all at the same time. Maybe it's been more lineal, the way that it's come in for us to look at. And this is a little bit like this sort of deluge of lights and codes and frequencies and activating our DNA. So that's, that often comes in with this feeling of the like very similar to Kundalini energy, this coming up the spinal fluid, this moving up the vertebrae. And then we've got these wing activations that are going on. And, I think I spoke the other today about the activations in the shoulder blades, and yesterday Sarah Adams spoke, interesting to me, about the activations in the front being related to that, and then linking in to the ears as well. But we are, that's part of our multi-dimensional integration, is we've been many beings in many places with many skills, and it's not that we're going to turn into a dragon, but we are, having these memories of the learnings that we've had as these various creatures throughout time. Has anyone got any other questions while I'm here? Okay. All right. So, keep in touch and go gently. Be super well hydrated. That's certainly the most important thing. Be guided by ask to be guided by your higher self as to what you feel to eat or drink, but definitely lots of good quality water. I was seeing, the other thing is the emotions. Our emotions are really close to the surface now. And so we just go with it and experience those. But when this light comes through, I saw like underneath the surface of the earth, I saw this light. Everything is going to be lit up. I mean, it's going to come right through the planet, but it was like this greater aura that we're going to see. The plants, the trees, the birds, the insects, the animals, they're going to be more enlightened, as in more illumined, just as we are. And, we are moving back to that, and who knows when that will be. But I've been shown how there will be beings in our new world, in our new earth, who emanate light from their heart and their higher heart. And just as, when you think about it, just as many of the ancient artists painted Christ, or Yeshua, or Jesus, and how we see many of those incredible ancient beings who have been on our earth in higher consciousness, they're portrayed with that. And I guess when I think about it, that's how Gaia is painted. This is this illuminated sphere. This is a crystalline sphere that sits in her higher heart space. It rotates and moves, and it emanates light, and how it shows up for me in her is as though there's this cavity there that this sits within. And so I've seen that as well, but it was this, that the dirt looked as though it had this sort of luminescent quality to it. Do feel free to share and hear what you may have seen, but we're in this continuation of this corridor, this portal, this birth canal, through these eclipses, and then into this gateway on the 1111. And it's really this vertical energy. It propels us upwards. We go to a higher dimension. Hi, Golden. You're welcome, Sally. So here we are on the 7th. So the second eclipse tomorrow. And it is really going to have that's the other thing. It's quite a lot, really. This greater effect. I've been speaking about this relocation, this that old-fashioned dance where people change partners on the floor. It's that, and it's that for everything. It's people the disintegration of this three-dimensional world. It doesn't mean that form is going to go, but the three-dimensional material, consumerist nature, the competitiveness, the lack of cohesion is all being shifted into, collective, collaborative unity consciousness. That's where we are moving to in all ways and forms, and the way in which we live our lives in terms of our houses, our clothing, our leisure, our focus will all shift with that. And I believe that will happen very, very quickly. Our values will shift and change as we have greater, security, which is a bit of a three-dimensional concept, but as we are more secure in being in movement and change and shift, we'll be able to let a lot of those constructs of living in our third-dimensional world go, and we will have moved into a world where everybody is fed for a start, and everybody is housed, and everybody is clothed, and we'll be working with higher principles in terms of the way in which we interact, and the way in which we assist one another, the way in which we make business, if you like, arrangements. They will be with higher purpose. And so a lot of things are going to shift. We'll have reduced work hours. The whole money thing will shift around. We'll have rules that are made with higher principles that serve everyone. We'll have government that becomes governance, that becomes flatlined councils. We'll have energy that is based on energy that doesn't damage our beautiful earth. We'll have more technologies, higher technologies, some that are already here and hidden, and some that are sort of in the ethers. And you might remember me saying how I have seen this piece of technology that's all about house design, and I saw it like a giant snow globe, and on a cafe table, and a family sitting around it, and it was this interactive snow globe, this interactive glass container, and it responded to voice and responded to touch, and the family were discussing what it was that they wanted to have in their house in terms of there were options being given, and about size and scale and materials and shapes and colors, and they were building this holographic house. So I saw a man, a woman, and a child girl and a child boy, and so they were discussing what they wanted, and the holographic three-dimensional plan, if you like, was being shown to them. And so then they would zoom in on a space, and they would examine that space and some of the details, and it was really interesting. I've seen things like, I've seen doors that open in response to your DNA, that's the security level on things. I've seen a lot of sort of internal terrarium spaces. A lot of, I believe that many houses will have their own regeneration chamber. So I'm kind of getting to a point where I want to look into that more, but really I feel that my main role is to pass on the information that Gaia gives that can assist everyone in feeling a sense of normalcy as we go through this really challenging time. Did I see something about beating hearts? Two friends came over. They were so down. Yes, I think that could be definitely an issue. We're definitely moving into this time where people will be shown the truth and it will affect them. And how I've been shown that is that it would come that we will have this ascension first. But I am also aware that we've been seeing sort of what I call soft disclosure, where it's like people can sort of receive things as okay, maybe, okay, that's a bit different to what I thought. And so it energetically what God told me that was to be avoided was this sort of energy that bangs up against resistance. So we want energy that is soft and it moves gently so people can receive it and they can just be okay with it shifting slightly and then maybe shifting a little bit more, and in being in a higher vibration, being able to perhaps perceive this in a new way. So I guess that could come in as the dialogue around, ascension versus keeping us trapped, this freedom versus keeping us enslaved and caged. And that when they go to that higher level, they can maybe perceive it as a game or view it as a game. And so it can be a bit challenging, but they can see that they've ended up in the winning camp anyway, because if we hadn't had this kind of argy-bargy compression, pressure, push, squeeze, we may not have come through this time and seen the truth. So we are in challenging times, and right from the get-go, Gaia has always said to me that cognitive dissonance was her biggest concern. And what we are asked to do is just sit beside people and let them speak. We don't have to tell them everything we know, but we can be reassuring and we can hold their hand and we can be compassionate and hear what they have to say, and we can answer their questions if they have questions. But be aware that the most important thing is to be soft and compassionate and allow them to just come to whatever they come to in their own time, because maintaining frequency is the easiest way for us all to move through this. And of course, maintaining frequency across the board on the planet is how we are going to ascend. So it's we are on the edges of it. The 1111 is definitely an ascension movement, an ascension gateway. How much that shows up will be more dependent on the tipping point, and it's we are in the potential of that. We are in the potential, and Gaia is speaking. She always has spoken to me about that the planet will move further into the galactic center, where we're more into the photonic belt. So we're receiving more photonic light now. We're receiving plasma light as well. In fact, yesterday, I was driving, so I didn't take a photograph of it, but yesterday I could see plasma light around the sun. So what else is there here for me to tell you about that? Yeah, just avoid having a I told you so, or you never listened when I spoke about that, or I knew I was right. We need to avoid that. We need to be in our bigger, higher place with all of us. And yes, offering support and a shoulder to cry on, that's perfect, golden, beautiful. All right, much love to you all. And I'll speak again soon.